Media economics. Media economics. So let's look at the concept of media economics, and then we do a quick preview of what media economics is all about. What we're trying to do here is to provide background information for you. What we want to do here is for you to understand what media economics is all about, why it is an important aspect of any society or any media organization. So most media organizations should actually have media economists, or the management staff, whoever the boss is, should either have an idea of what media economics is all about, or they should have somebody in the company that is a media economist. This is a specialized area of media and communication studies, and that is why we need to take a careful look at what the concept of media economics is all about. Every day you read newspapers, you watch movies, you read novels, you listen to radio, you check your social media platforms. These are all various aspects of the media. The question is, when it has to do with economics, what are we talking about? Merging media and economics. What is this talking about? What is it all about? So you see, the media constitutes an industry, and industries are economic pillars in every nation. So if industries are economic pillars in every nation, it means that the media industry is a strong economic pillar in every nation. So you see why every nation is careful with the media sector, because without the media, the nation itself might crumble. It could run into confusion. Information is key to the running and the operation of every nation. The media constitutes a major economic pillar in every society. Now, the media industry is one of the world's fastest growing markets, especially in view of the impact of technology on the industry. We have said it is the world's fastest growing market. So you see, the media industry, we're talking about where you go to have fun, listening to music, what you rely on to get information. We're now seeing it from the perspective of a market. So the media industry is one of the world's fastest growing markets. And we said this is primarily because of the impact of technology on this industry. Look at how the audience base of various media has been expanded by the internet. And then today that the world is going digital, you see what is happening with the media. Businesses are moving online. The day-to-day living is being affected by the aspect of living, that is the electronic aspect of living. You find that these days it is not only just not having your phone, because if you don't have your phone, you leave the house, it's as if you left your heart in the house. But it's not just phone now. If you don't have data, it's as if something is missing in your life. That is how technology has moved the media to a particular plane where they are impacting seriously in the society. Now, the media industry is constantly expanding with more key players coming in by the day, and then they play very essential role as content creators, exhibitors, and distributors. Now, in view of the dynamism of the society, there is need for owners and managers in the industry to always make decisions that ensure profitable utilization of material and human resources available to the establishment. We're not talking about using material and human resources available to media organizations. That is to say, media organizations should be worried about how best to utilize the material and human resources available to them, the staff members, that is the reporters and other people in the company. You're talking about the broadcasters, talking about even the admin staff, the equipment. Maybe if it's radio station, if I want to start a radio station, which license do I go for? We're talking about cash. How much do I need to do this? Do I need branch offices, or can I reduce the number of staff I have? We're talking about managing material and human resources available to you. Otherwise, your company will crash. You find media organizations, they fold from time to time, probably because the media economists did not take a good look at issues that have to do with material and human resources. And then you look at the economic forces. What is happening in the economy? What is the value of the naira? What economic policy is government taking that could affect my newspaper or magazine, or even my social media platform, probably my blog or my Instagram activities and all that? What law is being passed in the parliament that could affect my business as a media organization? Just like every other business, media organizations are influenced by issues such as profitability, cost containment, and evolving ownership patterns. You're talking about profit. You're talking about how to reduce cost or how to make sure that whatever we do is cost effective. And then the ownership pattern keeps changing. Maybe the first person that established this media organization has sold it to another person, or maybe it's now being owned by a group. So these are the things that influence media businesses. So in order to understand how media business works, there is need for some sense of economic dimension of the media industry. That is where media economics comes in as an important aspect of every business in the media industry. Economics is concerned with the production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services. It has to do with allocation of resources. So it deals with how the society manages scarce resources. Just remember that economics talks about scarce resources, allocation of resources. It's concerned with production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services. And it's basically concerned with what to produce, how to produce, and then for whom to produce. That is the popular definition of economics. Having looked at the definition of economics as allocation of scarce resources, what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce, you now say, how is this related to media economics? Now, media economics provides an insight on the structure of media firms and media market. Media economics also exposes you to the nature of media products and how the media make money. Media products like the movies, newspaper as a product, or the content of newspaper like the article is a product, the straight news report is a product, the opinion article is a product. These are products. The movies are products, the newspaper article is a product. The individual stories in newspapers are products because people don't just buy newspaper, they consume the content. So stories could even attract people to newspapers. So that's what we're talking about, media economics. How do you get the best hands that will give you the best content? Content creation in media economics, very essential aspect of media economics. So when you're looking at media economics, you also use the three basic questions of economics, which you have mentioned, and that is, what goods should we produce? How do we produce them? And for whom do we produce them? So we said that what to produce has to do with the products you're going to offer as a media organization. You're talking about magazine, and we said it's not just the magazine, but the contents also are products. Because as a magazine company, you are offering them products like the stories. The stories are the products you are offering, not just the total package, which is the magazine itself that you sell, but the products also, the contents are products. The story is a product. The investigated stories are products. Should we go into newspaper production? Should we go into magazine production? How many copies do we even produce? Should we go into radio? Do we focus on sports reporting, or do we go into fashion television, or do we go into music television? What to produce? Then when you own a radio station, what content do you sell? That the individual products in the broadcast organization. You have the different programs. Those are products too. You have drama. That's a product. You have documentary. Those are products within the radio station. If it's television station, you have different TV series. You have the movies you give them. All those different programs are products that you are selling. How to produce? You're talking about the skills. How do we hire hands? The best presenters. Who do we use? Do we look for on-air personalities that are going to attract people to our station? Do we look for the best reporters? Skills. Do we even train in-house? How do we produce? Do we need branches immediately? Or do we just start with a small building where we're going to have our studio and then a few hands? How do we produce? What kind of transmitter do we get? And then for whom to produce? For whom to produce? That is to say, who are our targets? Are we focusing on only sports lovers? Because there are sports newspapers, there are sports radio stations. Are we focusing on fashion audience? Or do we just run a radio station for every segment of the society? Do we make our television station for every segment of the society? Or should I run a blog for every segment of society? Or should I focus my blog on health? So you check these things before you move into the media market. And while in the media market, you could keep changing the idea that you had initially, and then you keep moving into other ideas that will strengthen your initial vision for the establishment. That is why these three key questions are very important, and they are referred to as basic economic issues. These questions point towards basic economic issues, and they influence decision making over scarce resources in the media and other industries. So, media economics provides strategies for understanding how to choose the most appropriate and efficient options for overcoming these three basic economic issues: what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce. So what's media economics? Media economics is a term that is used to refer to business transactions and financial activities of the organizations producing and selling media products. We have mentioned to you what media products are. The goods and services that media organizations give to the audience. Those are media products. We have said they range from the movies that you see on TV, the TV news and current affairs programs. Those are products that you give to the audience. The interesting stories you see in newspapers, whether it is investigative reports or even the fashion stories, you decide on what content to give. Those contents, they are media products. Then the newspaper itself is also a media product. The contents are also products. Basically, media economics is the application of economic principles, concepts, and theories to the study of mass media companies. Media economics combines economics with the study of the media. So what you need to do is understand the meaning of economics and then how to apply it to the media, how to apply it to media activities. Now you need to understand that the media exists in a market, that is the media market, and then that the media offer products, that is they offer products, what we call media products. So media economics has to do with the process of value creation by operators and workers in the various sectors of the media industry. Value creation. What do I produce for the audience? That is, the audience here are your customers. Media economics is about competition and the struggle for customer attention in various markets in the media industry. The customer here is viewed from two perspectives: the audience on one hand and the advertisers on the other hand. Remember, if you are in the media industry, you are looking at two customers: the audience, those that you are giving the product directly. That is to say, they watch the movies on your TV station or even your movie channels. They watch the TV drama, TV series. They listen to news that you give them, or they read your newspaper. Those are the audience. You are targeting the readers. Then when you have large audience base, when you have high number of viewers, the advertisers get interested. They want to come and advertise because they are targeting the audience. So the advertisers are also your customers on the other hand. Because when your audience base increases, the advertisers are interested. You are targeting the audience directly with your content, and then the advertisers also. So the media have two basic customers: the audiences and the advertisers. So at least take away something from this lecture: that the media exists in the media market and that they deliver goods and services to consumers, and then that the media have products, and that media economics has to do with the application of economic principles to operations of media organizations, and that economics has to do with allocation of scarce resources and utilization of material and human resources available to an organization, and that economics has to do with three basic questions that are referred to as three basic issues in society: what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. And when you apply this to the media industry, you will understand what media economics is all about. You also need to understand that the media generate two commodities. Remember, we said they are dealing with the media market because the media constitutes an industry, and in fact every media house exists in the media market and they offer media products or media commodities. But you need to understand this: what makes the media industry very unique is that they generate two commodities. The first commodity is the content, that is television programs, newspaper copy, magazine articles, online news content, the blogs you visit, the online news platforms you visit, the contents, the news stories. Those are contents. That is, those are the commodities that they generate, that the audience are coming after. That is, their customers come to appreciate. Then the second product or commodity they generate is audience. the audience members are commodities. Why? They sell, in quote, they sell the audience to the advertisers. Now, they sell the content directly to the viewers for television, to the readers for newspapers. They sell their books, those who are into book publishing, they sell their books directly to the audience. Now, we're talking about radio, television, and others here, online platforms. They produce content directly for the audience, those who watch their movies, those who listen to their news content. Then, when your audience increases, when the number of audience members is very large, the advertiser comes. The advertiser's interest is not just on the program, but who is watching the program? What is the number of the audience of that program? That is what makes the audience product. So they sell content directly to those who read newspapers, those who watch movies or listen to radio. Then they sell the audience to the advertiser. Selling the audience to the advertiser is not talking about slave trade here. It's talking about telling the advertiser, hey, I have large number of audience. I have millions of people that watch my channel. Come and then advertise. The advertiser does not come because the program that those people watch is very interesting. The advertiser comes because there is a large audience base for that specific program, and people that watch that program will see the advert. So the advertiser comes because of the audience to a program, not primarily because the program is interesting. So you see, if you're exiting the media market, you should bear in mind that you have two basic products to generate. If you generate only content, you won't succeed because you also need to generate audience. That is why media organizations work very hard to ensure that their audience base increases by offering very good content, very exciting content, thoroughly investigated stories and all that. This is also an aspect that a media economist needs to understand.
Hi everyone, I'm your favorite doc. I don't know why you guys don't subscribe to my YouTube channel even after watching my videos. But I give you guys good content, yet you don't subscribe. Oh no. I want blue. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, please.